Hey guys, not Chelsea here. This is Travis, her bigger and better half. And part of Chelsea's channel is a little bit of lifestyle motivation. Part of lifestyle is always eating. One of my favorite things to eat is barbecue, and I try to smoke barbecue from time to time, and people tell me that it turns out pretty good. So I'm going to try to share some knowledge with you today on some baby back ribs. So what I'm going to go through today is the 3-2-1 method in my electric smoker. I'm going to go through the preparation of the ribs. I'm going to go through how to season them, and then I'm going to go through the steps of 3-2-1. So go ahead and follow me on the rest of this video, and welcome to Big T's Backyard Barbecue. Alright everyone, so we got the first step of preparation right here. I got one rack of ribs, of baby back ribs I should say here. There's a couple different methods that people tend to prefer. Some people take the membrane off, which is the thin, mucusy, like, I don't like to use that word, but it's like a thin, glossy layer that the animal leaves behind. Some people take that off, but it renders pretty well in the smoker, so I don't worry about it. But what I'm looking for here is I'm looking at these patches of fat. Fat renders really well in the smoker when you go a slow and low temperature, but you don't want any of the hard nodules of fat in here. So I kind of feel around on the meat here, and if I feel any hard nodules of fat, I try to trim these. So I'll just kind of feel right here, and then I'll just kind of gently take the knife and go against the meat and just leave. You want about a 1/4 inch of fat left on these. Now pork, you do like fat. Fat is your friend. It adds a lot of flavor to the meat. Same thing with brisket. Fat is your friend in smoking. Lots of flavor, like I said, but you don't want too much because otherwise it's overwhelming and it makes it very chewy. So just something like that. Baby backs tend not to have a lot of fat. Next thing that I do is, in my particular smoker, it is not the biggest one, so I have to cut mine in half. So I just try to find the middle rib here and then just go ahead and cut this bad boy in half. Then I bought 3 racks of ribs here, so I will go ahead and just do that then get it all the way. There's a little bit of cartilage right there. Sometimes you just have to press through. And then I'll just go ahead and do that for the next 3. Stay tuned for the next step. Okay guys, we're back with the rub or seasoning here. I like to get one of these shaker bottles that has the porous holes in there. Then you can just apply pretty liberally. People like a pretty liberal coat of rub on there. Pork, your best friend is brown sugar in your rub. I like a lot of brown sugar, unless we're doing Whole 30. We tend to do Whole 30, and then we just can't have brown sugar in that. So if you're doing something modified like keto or Whole 30, avoid the brown sugar, and you can stick to what else I have in here, which is going to be like a garlic and onion powder. We like it a little bit spicier in our house. We do a lot of chili powder and cayenne pepper powder too. Also just regular salt and pepper is essential. So what you're going to see me do here is I'm going to put a pretty liberal coat on the top of the rib, and then you're going to see me kind of coat my hand along the side so I can get those edges nice and coated as well. And then I'm going to flip it over, and then I'm just going to do another coat on that as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and coat all 3 racks or 6 that you see here, and then we'll move on to the next step. So once I finish seasoning these ribs, what I'm going to do is wrap these up in the aluminum foil that you see here. Then I'm going to put them in the refrigerator. That way they can soak in all the flavors overnight. Then when I'm ready to smoke in the morning, I'm going to pull them out about an hour ahead of time. That way they can come to room temperature a little bit more, so they can acclimate to the temperature of the smoker and there's not such a drastic change in temp. Alright, here we are with the first step of the 3-2-1 method. The 3 stands for 3 hours where the ribs are uncovered from the foil and they're going to be smoked at 225 degrees Fahrenheit, uncovered in foil like I said. And yeah, so what you're going to see me do here is take them out of the foil because I've already taken them out of the refrigerator and they've been kind of acclimating back to room temperature now. And I've already preheated the smoker to 225, and I've already been marinating, if you will, the wood chips so we can generate that smoke flow, a little bit deeper smoke, so we can get that into the meat a little bit better. So if you want to look down here, I'm going to start taking the ribs out of the foil and putting them on the rack so we can put it in the smoker here. When I said marinating wood chips, what I meant is I put them in water before I smoke the meat. It just generates a denser smoke cloud in the electric smoker. It flavors the meat more. So also notice that I put the ribs meatier side down. I just like to do that because I believe that they take in the smoke better, adding in that flavor of wood that you put into your smoker. Part 2 of the 3-2-1 method. Part 2 is simply 2 hours back in the smoker, but this time we're going to wrap it in foil and then we're going to include some kind of moisture with the ribs. Some people put apple juice, some people put like apple cider vinegar. I usually either just put a regular like Coors Light, Bud Light, whatever I have around the house, but for this one I like to kind of combine it with a Angry Orchard or some kind of cider. That way you kind of combat the spiciness that we particularly like in our ribs. But that's up to you. You can kind of experiment with it. But I have found that a cider is the best thing for our ribs. What you're going to see me do here is make my own variation of the sauce that you see in front of you. The sauce that you get from a store just is too thick in my opinion, and sweet also to add to these ribs. So I empty the bottle and then I'm going to add apple cider vinegar to it to lighten it up and make it almost more like a mop sauce. You can also use the drippings from your meat too. I just didn't have a drippings pan because I had too much meat in my smoker to catch it. So you're going to see me add the apple cider vinegar here, and that's going to lighten it up and make it a little bit more pliable. And then you're going to see me add these different spices that I've got in front of you. The two that I have in like the silverish containers are onion and garlic powder. Everything else you can see is clearly labeled. Again, we like things spicier in our household. We have finally arrived at part 3. Part 3 is going to be 1 more hour in the smoker, still at 225, but this time you get to put the sauce on this. So now the sauce you saw me make earlier, you can see I'm liberally coating both sides of it, and then I'm going to put the ribs back in the smoker without the foil. This way they can attain that nice crispy edge when you bite into it. Time is here. Your hard work has definitely paid off. What's your reward, you say? Tasty ribs. My wife and I enjoyed the heck out of these ribs, and we do every time we use the 3-2-1 method. If you like this video, please let us know by hitting that like button. Also hit subscribe to our channel if you like our content. If you want to see more from Big T, please let us know in the comment box, as well as I can put more videos out for y'all.